It's time to call the meeting to order. Adam, would you do roll call, please?
Councilman Brenny.
Here.
Councilman Frederick.
Here.
Councilman Frohart.
Here.
Councilman Hanson.
Here.
Thank you. Thanks to everybody for being here tonight. If you have anything to comment on that's not on the agenda, there is an area on here in number 3, citizens' opportunity to address the council on items not on the agenda. Otherwise, you can address the council on any of the items that appear on the agenda. We'll move on to number 2, consent of agenda. A, approval of agenda. B, approval of the minutes of the August 8, 2011 council meeting. C, receipts and disbursements.
So move to approve A, B, and C.
No questions?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve consent of agenda A, B, and C. Call for a vote.
Councilman Brenny.
Yes.
Councilman Frederick.
Yes.
Councilman Frohart.
Yes.
Councilman Hanson. Yes.
Thank you. Item number 3 is citizens' opportunity to address the council on items not on the agenda. If there are none, we'll move on to 4, which is license and permits. A is Viking Bay Sports Bar and Grill, Class C liquor license and outdoor service 2-day for Labor Day weekend. Adam, has there been any reports about any problems or anything?
No.
Council, any questions about it?
I'll make a motion to approve Viking Bay's request, Viking Bay Sports Bar and Grill, the Class C liquor license with outdoor service for 2 days over Labor Day weekend.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the Viking Bay Class C liquor license for Labor Day 2-day weekend. If there are no questions, call for a vote.
Councilman Brenny.
Yes.
Curtis, sorry.
Why do they need a specific license for that weekend?
Last year and this year both, they're doing an outside event over the Labor Day weekend. And in order for them to do so, they have to have a special license for that particular event. Because of each license is a little bit different, Curtis, and their current license does not cover the event itself. So they have to get a special license for that 2-day event. Councilman Frederick.
Yes.
Councilman Frohart.
Yes.
Councilman Hanson.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to 5, miscellaneous. A, consideration of approving Viking Bay Sports Bar and Grill, Inc. request to use public property.
I'll also move to approve Viking Bay Sports Bar and Grill for the use of public property.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve Viking Bay Sports Bar and Grill use of public property. Would you call for a vote, please?
Councilman Hanson.
Yes.
Councilman Frohart.
Yes.
Councilman Frederick.
Yes.
Councilman Brenny.
Yes.
5A again. You want it to be A again?
No, that should be B.
B. Okay. Consideration of approving Viking Bay Sports Bar and Grill request to close William Street between 5th Street and West State Street on September 3rd and 4th. Any questions or concerns over this? It's part of that whole thing.
So move to approve the request to close William Street between 5th and West Street.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the Viking Bay Sports Bar and Grill's request to close William Street on September 3rd and 4th. Would you call for a vote, please?
Councilman Brenny.
Yes.
Councilman Frederick.
Yes.
Councilman Frohart.
Yes.
Councilman Hanson.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to 5C. Consideration of accepting Jim Johnson's resignation from the City Council. Any discussion?
Make a motion to approve this resignation from the City Council.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded to accept Jim Johnson's resignation from the City Council. Adam, would you call for a vote?
Councilman.
Curtis?
Did he submit a letter of resignation with that?
Yes,
Yes, he did.
Is that available for the public to hear?
Sure.
It can be.
It would be great.
Okay.
I have a question, Mark.
Yes.
Adam mentioned he'd been here 10 years, but Jim said in his resignation he'd been here 12 and a half years.
Right.
Which is, you know,
I think I said 10 plus or something along those lines. in my letter. If I was. I'd say
Okay.
he's probably much more of a
Okay.
30 on
Yeah,
it than
'cause
I
you
am.
Have we voted on that?
No.
No.
Okay, call for a vote.
Councilman Brenny,
Yes.
Councilman Frederick,
Yes.
Councilman Frohart,
Yes.
Councilman Hanson.
Yes.
And I'll be happy to give you this copy, Curtis. of the-
Oh, I was asking if you guys would read it for the benefit of the public.
Oh. You want to read it?
And by the way, I think it's in order to give a special thanks to Jim for serving for 12 years on the council. It says, "Dear Honorable Mayor and City Council, I would like to submit my resignation from City Council effective Sunday, August 14, 2011. It has been my honor to have served on the City Council for the past 12 and a half years. I would like to thank all the citizens that have supported me over the years. I will continue to serve the community in different ways. I hope in the upcoming election, the citizens of Sac City vote for people that have positive attitude toward the community and the focus is not on cutting services or outsourcing jobs in the city. The community is very fortunate to have a knowledgeable and experienced staff of employees who live and reside in Sac City. I'm proud to rejoin them in serving the community. Sincerely, Jim Johnston." Okay, move on to 5D. Consideration of methods for filling city council vacancy. I believe in your packet, Adam has made a recommendation. Has everybody had a chance to look at that recommendation?
My concern is we are required to put it on to the election for this coming November. In fact, I've already contacted Jim Dowling to notify him that we do need to include a fourth council seat as part of a special election during the November election. For us to meet the notice requirements and to consider candidates for it, at the very best, anyone we would seat prior to that election, at the most, would sit for 3 council meetings. And so my suggestion to the council, more likely it would be 2 council meetings. So my recommendation to the council is to just wait for the election. Whoever wins that election can, of course, be seated for that first meeting in November. So.
Agreed.
What did you say they're going to be vacant this fall?
There would be 3 positions, Councilman Brenny, Councilman Hanson, and Councilman Frederick's seats are up on their 4-year cycle, and then of course Councilman Johnston's seat would be up on its due to the special election circumstances.
Okay, do we need to designate that as instead of a 4-year, as a 2-year?
That's what
It will be.
Yeah, I've already notified the county auditor of this, or the county auditor of this.
Do we need to vote on that
Yes.
method?
Yes, if you'd like to, that would be the action you'd like to take, I would
I would
request.
move that we do the method of filling the city council vacancy as you have outlined in the deal, which would be to put it up for election and fill the seat upon whoever wins the votes.
Second.
Okay, a motion has been made and seconded to not fill Jim Johnston's seat right now, but wait until the election and fill it at that time. Any questions or conversation? If not, I call for a vote.
Councilman Brenny,
Yes.
Councilman Frederick.
Yes.
Councilman Frohart.
Yes.
Councilman Hanson.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to 5E, consideration of accepting Eric Younginger's resignation from the Park Board. He did submit a letter of resignation, and in that letter, he thanked us for the opportunity of serving on the board, but he's in his position as a firefighter now. It was almost impossible for him to get to the board meetings. So, do you have any discussion or questions about that?
I move to accept this.
Second.
Motion's been made and accepted, or seconded, to accept Eric Younginger's resignation from the Park Board. If there's no further discussion, call for a vote.
Councilman Brenny,
Yes.
Councilman Frederick,
Yes.
Councilman Frohart,
Yes.
Councilman Hanson.
Yes.
Okay, 5F is consideration of appointing John Zeman to the Park Board, filling that position.
That would be yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I'll make the motion to appoint John Zeman to the Park Board.
You have a question?
Curtis, question?
Why did you guys decide to, or why are you guys considering John Zeman for the Park Board?
Because he's shown an interest in serving on it and said so. He wanted to be a part of it, so.
When we were looking at potential candidates and trying to identify them, it was brought to our attention that Mr. Zeman volunteered his time to install playground equipment last October, and I believe him and Larry Payton were the only two non-board members who volunteered their time. And so the discussion was, as someone who was active in that manner towards the parks would be an ideal candidate to fill that position.
Are there any further questions or discussion? Yes.
For how long of a period will this appointment be?
It's fulfilling Eric's term. I'd have to look and see when Eric's term's up.
Move to approve appointing John Zeman to the park board.
Actually, we already have one.
Okay,
Motion's been
sorry.
made, and we're just waiting to call for a vote if there's no further questions. Call for a vote?
Councilman Hanson.
Yes.
Councilman Frohart.
Yes.
Councilman Frederick.
Yes.
Councilman Brenny.
Yes.
Okay, 5G is consideration of approving agreement with Kale and Pyre LTD for engineering services on the street improvement project. And I know that Adam has had this before Colin, and he has been through it. And you had it in your packet. Do you have any questions or?
There were modifications after Colin went through it. There were modifications after we met with Keel and Pyre, and before you is a nice hefty little agreement between the two of us.
And this is the one that Colin finally finished up.
Yes.
Curtis?
What streets will be improved by this?
This is only for engineering services, Curtis. This isn't making a final determination on what roads would be included in the package.
Is it accurate to say that one of their jobs is going to be to determine what roads are going to be in the final package?
Well, of course, when we put out for applications, request for engineering quotes, we did give them examples of what we considered our primary roads of concern. So I do not expect there'll be much deviation from that list. And you're probably familiar with that list from previous meetings we've had. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that as we go through the preliminary design process that something might stand out to the committee or to the public that should be included or taken out. Or I guess what I'm telling you is nothing is set in stone. That's why you have the preliminary design process.
What's the amount of the contract?
The preliminary design process contract would, according to the agreement, is $5,000 to $7,000. That deviation is based upon the amount of time and effort that's put into public meetings. Because one of the things we really focused on during the selection process was wanting to make sure that we did as much as we can early on in the process to include the public in the involvement in deciding what activities would take place and what streets would be included. So there could be some, they gave us a range based upon a deviation in process due to the amount of public meetings that we held.
How many engineers were considered for this before you chose Keel and Pyre? Or before you...
I believe 16 engineering firms inquired, 14 met with us initially, 9 put in proposals. It was either 8 or 9. 8 or 9 put in proposals. We got down to a select list of 3, and then from 3 we identified Keel and Pyre as our preferred vendor, which we began the
The
negotiation.
3 were interviewed by the entire council.
Right.
At a public meeting. I believe you were here, or one of your
Yes.
associates were?
Yeah, this started in March, I want to say, roughly March.
Any further questions or discussion? Are you ready to make a motion?
Move to accept the contract that was brought up by staff and county and the city attorney to Keel and Pyre for engineering services for the street improvement project.
I'll second it.
A motion has been made and seconded to accept the agreement with Keel and Pyre for engineering services on the street improvement project. Any other discussion or questions? If not, I'll call for a vote.
Councilman Hanson.
Yes.
Councilman Frohart.
Yes.
Councilman Frederick.
Yes.
Councilman Brenny.
Yes.
Okay, H is committee and department head reports. Curtis.
Typically in your committee and council head report packets, there's a copy of the minutes, financial statement for the airport. Do you have one of those in your packet tonight?
Usually there is.
Can you tell me the date on the top of those minutes, please?
7/13/11.
7/13. Did the airport meet on the 10th of August?
And it's for the month ending 7/31/11.
Did the airport meet on August 10th?
I can't tell you if they met or not.
I didn't attend the meeting.
Who's the airport representative?
Right here.
Did you attend that meeting?
No, I did not. You could read the first paragraph to see that.
I can't read the first paragraph. You don't hand those out to the public until after the meeting.
Okay. No, I
And I'm
didn't.
actually talking about the August 10th
The meeting
meeting.
was held on July 13th.
Right.
The regular monthly meeting of the Sac City Municipal Airport Commission was held on July 13th. Present with Matt Wallace, Doc Hopkins,
Well,
Jim Curry. You can have.
Maybe
copy
it's a
of
little
this.
easier for me to explain. The department head reports for this month are for last month.
Mhm.
So that's why there wouldn't be one included. But to answer your question directly, I don't know off the top of my head. I can check with Julie and let you know
It was the
if they
second.
met.
It was the second Tuesday.
Did they meet?
Yes.
So they met on the 9th?
Whatever date that
Second
is.
Tuesday. It would have been the 9th,
Yeah.
but I don't know that for a fact, so.
I didn't make that one either. But I did talk to Milo about it.
Okay.
Well, that's new information. What did he tell you about it?
He just says, wasn't that informative? I don't know what you want out of it. Milo doesn't attend all of them either. I can't do it because my Tuesday nights I have to work. So
So-
the night I don't get to work, I have to support my wife and I.
So when is the last meeting you attended of the airport commission?
Probably the one before this one.
Oh, is that one? Was there one before that?
Can't tell you.
Okay, I think we should move on. Are there any other reports to discuss?
We're having a landfill meeting tomorrow night. Gonna come along with all that addition out there, and it seems like things are going well, so I'll find out tomorrow night, so 7:30.
So are we still on the committee and department head reports?
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
I thought we went down to council.
that's okay.
That's committee, you're on the committee.
I did attend Kids World. They talked about the proceeds from the fundraisers. They talked about the Head Start, as far as we know, is still going to occupy space there. They also talked about the fact that the federal government has mandated that they get all new beds again because of something, this
Cribs.
safety thing. So
cribs
they
again.
have to raise money to buy new beds for the infants.
How much money is that gonna take?
The beds are about $300 a piece, as far as I know. I think Kiwanis may be donating one, and I heard that someone else was donating a bed.
How many beds do they need?
I honestly can't tell you, 4 or 5, yeah. Let's see, what else?
You got a new board member on there too, I don't know
Right, we do have
who that
a,
was.
he is new to the community, so I'm sorry, I can't remember his name, but he has 2 children that go to Kids World, and he's very enthused about being on the board. I think his first name is John, and I'm sorry, I should have written it down. Also, we were to have a community meeting, but there were a couple people that couldn't be there, so it was postponed till tomorrow, till this Thursday.
They just sent a deal out.
Okay?
They want to report your income, grants.
Is there anything else? Anything you want to discuss in the council forum, which is item number 6?
I have just a notice tomorrow at 1:45 p.m. The governor and lieutenant governor will be in Oldebo at the downtown cafe doing a public town hall meeting. If any of you are interested in that. And I've mentioned this before, but just a reminder now that it's coming closer, on August 31st, up at Storm Lake in the evening, there is a meeting of the Governor's Transportation 2020 Citizen Advisory Commission, and they'll be seeking public input during that meeting. I believe it's from 6 to 8, but if you want to make sure, I can verify that for you.
Are you going?
I'm planning on it, yes.
Where are we at? Does somebody else have a question on that? I was gonna ask a question on that North Fifth. What's happening there?
Well, we've talked with a concrete contractor, and we've talked with some electrical contractors, and we do believe that we can do the project. We can do it this season still to save grant money from being an issue. I would not be surprised if we don't start on the next one in the next 2 weeks, to be honest.
I was just curious. Okay.
The committee on Highway 20 consists of Gary Hansen and me, and we met with Adam it was about a week or so ago to discuss, how we were going to move forward with the proposal of the TIF district for the tax increment financing, and we directed Adam to come up with some sample joint documents to work out with us to be able to present to this Sac County Board of Supervisors. We did, and Adam did come up with a joint development agreement and an urban renewal platform document, and essentially the tax TIF district would be a method of cost sharing, and of course there'd be no annexation involved with this, but so the documents have been drawn up. Our next step will be to have public input meetings, with regard to the boundaries of the district, and I'd just like to reiterate that there's going to be no money spent until or proposed until there's actually a prospect in hand. So it's just a formality of setting up the TIF district at this point. And so once we get this, this is yet to be determined. So one of the things that we'll be doing with the public input is defining where that would be. And of course that would be worked out in conjunction with the Sac County Board of Supervisors. Since they're the ones that will actually be setting up the TIF district, it will be outside the city limits actually. And we're including them in the discussion as to what we're doing throughout the process. So it's not like we're going to come up with a surprise to them. Once we get the public input, then we'll try and come up with the finalized documents to present to the city council. Once the council, if it's approved by the council, then we will in turn approach the Board of Supervisors formally then. And just kind of wanted to bring you up into the status of where we are in that process.
Anybody have anything else?
Do you have anything to add?
Curtis?
Oh.
Could you indicate, please, which committees you have assigned Councilman Hansen to?
There's a list. He can provide it in the office, or Gary.
I honestly don't know. You never gave me one. If there isn't.
Adam, do you have anything to add further on that?
No, I think you covered it, Bill, other than at this time, it's just rough plans to put in place, because we expect there will be negotiation processes this falls through, and the fact that we have not taken any public input yet. So once that side of it is complete, we would then present it to the council for consideration to review the plan.
Yes.
Mr. Brady, once there is a prospect for the TIF district, what's the method for disclosing that to the public that you guys are thinking about using now?
The actual mechanics of going through that procedure, I'm really not up to speed on that. That would have to be investigated. And I would imagine there would be some confidentiality. Oftentimes businesses or industries considering a new location oftentimes want confidentiality. So that would have to be determined when that time arises.
With which economic entities would you be working with locally?
Kind of depend on the situation, and as the situation arises, that specifically hasn't been addressed, and it will be, in the event that, somebody would show some interest, and it would depend perhaps on what that entity, how they want to go about it too. And like I say, the TIF district would actually be with the Sac County Board of Supervisors, so it would have to be, worked out with them how we would proceed. So that's going to be kind of a work in process when and hopefully that time arises.
How much influence would you say the city of Sac City would have on that process?
That would be entirely, in the situation as it presents itself. That would yet to be determined, and I don't think anyone would want to offer a conjecture on that at this point.
Is it possible that it could be zero?
Oh, anything's possible. Let's say it could range anywhere from 0 to 100%, so it's totally open. There's
Depends on
no,
what the entity does, what they want for goods and services
Yeah.
out there that the city's can provide. If they
And
don't
that's a
want
good point.
anything out of the
Then where's
city,
it at?
and where it is, and what it's gonna cost to get there, you don't know that until.
And if they're looking at being a major user of, for instance, natural gas, then we would probably be a very large contributor and involved in the process because, once again, you have to understand that the purpose of the TIF district in the area is that the developments would not take place unless those utilities were available for that area. So what you really have is a marriage of two government entities for the purposes of offering what both parties lack in and of itself to be able to supply.
And it means to pay for this part of it.
Correct.
So the public hearing, oh, I'm sorry. Was I interrupting?
No.
The purpose of the public hearing is to take suggestions on where the TIF district would be?
Well, anything that would
Anything.
be, this would basically just be an opportunity to show the public what we're considering as far as what the plan would look like, what we would think that the initial idea of what a map would start to look like, what type of utilities might be included from our side of the fence, what type of involvement the county might have other than, you look, for instance, at the Sibley plan, for instance. In the Sibley plan, it was actually the county that took all debt service towards the development of the utility lines to the commercial improvement. I would fully expect that in that case there was a significant amount of negotiation between the city and the county on how that ended up being arranged, and I would expect it would be no different here with each unique circumstance of a development opportunity.
School board is involved with it too, aren't they?
Yeah, from an outside standpoint, yes.
So they got to give up the taxes as well.
Correct.
Has there been any public input yet?
Still in just the talking stage, we have, until it gets going further.
We felt it was necessary to at least be able to present some type of formulated thought before we come to the public, because if you sit in a room and you're just brainstorming, there's a very good chance you won't really go anywhere. And so by having something already on paper, at least gives us some construct to begin from. And that's really the intent, is with what we've developed so far, is to have somewhat of a construct developed. Not that in any way it's believed to be a finished product.
and we certainly intend to, weigh any input that the public has, in the decision-making process. So we're certainly welcoming any, public input.
Is there anything else?
Move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. Would you call for a vote, please?
Councilman Brenning,
Yes.
Councilman Frederick,
Yes.
Councilman Frohart,
Yes.
Councilman Hanson.
Yes.
I have
I'm
mine.
still waiting for that motion to adjourn to die for lack of a second.
I don't think
You're gonna wait a long time.
I'm not sure it's required.